There we go. Live. Did I give it a little sign in for everybody?
Absolutely, Susan.
Okay.
Why don't you bring us into the channel?
Well, welcome everybody. I am your host here, Seasoned Salt, with the HOC mathematician Levskumi and Arya.
Hi, guys.
Hey, guys.
We're going to be doing a little bit of a recap on week 1 on the qualifier matches and what we saw some of the teams and how they performed, and we're going to be looking at also, or we're going to be speculating as to what is to come for this weekend's quarterfinal event. So, with that being said, I'll give it to Levy to discuss our first topic of the day.
Yes.
Is it going to be the TSM one?
Yes, let's go with TSL one. So,
TSM.
TSM one. Okay, TSM one. So thank you.
Oh wait, are we going with TSL? What are we doing?
No problem. So welcome to the stream, guys, and thanks for inviting me there, Seasoned Salt. And yes, we have a lot to discuss. A lot of stuff happened during the week. And before talking to from TSL of what happened with TSL, let's talk about other teams and finish up with TSM event and Easy Gaming. So the first series we had Rose Noir versus Bhams, sorry. Rose Noir versus Bhams, and surprisingly that series was, even though 2-0, pretty good show by Bhams.
I was really impressed by Bhams, actually. I was not familiar with them before, and here they go in first round against the favorites in this matchup, and they honestly blew me away.
Yeah, not only
they
did
were
they
very
take it
competitive.
to them. I mean, BH really took it to Rose Noir. If anything, exposed a very crucial element right there that was lacking in Rose Noir's, which was their team fight potential. Even though they were securing the objectives, they were having a lot of trouble picking up these kills on the team fights.
Yeah, where they excel, Rose Noir, it's closing the game, getting the objectives, and winning games. And often they lose the mid game, they lose the early game, they lose the team fights. It's not necessarily the specialty. Many other teams are better than them at that point, but closing the game, it's their strength. And this is what happened at getting to the end, 2 minutes before the game finishes. That team fight from Bhams, and then a big flip, and the Rose Noir pushed for the win on the first game.
Exactly. MVP of that match I had as Sia, A585897. That was the MVP with that clutch ultimate underneath the tower to secure the ace.
Yeah, I think it was 4 people stone gazed, right?
Yes, 4 people, and then they just picked up the other kill on the way down.
And they had a Clint. Clint is very big end game. This is where Clint is the best when you get to the end game. And that moment, they just pushed straight into the mid game, to the mid lane, and they won from that single initiation team fight.
Yeah, he had a lot. He had a lot of control, especially on the side of the order side of the jungle, to close out that game. Let's see here what I have from that.
And for the second game, they had a bit closer game. I think they had switching from one side to the other who's going to win, but again, similar setup. Bhams were in the lead, and then from mid-game they did a mistake, and not a big one, but it enabled Rose Noir just to snowball from there.
Yeah, it was a team composition. What did they run? They ran Kotun, Horse, Clint, Mystic, and RTQ, which is something that we're used to seeing we're used to seeing Rose Noir rather, with these team comps that are just very heavy dive champs. They're very good at just disrupting the flow of a team fight with the amount of chaos that they create. And this second team composition was much suited to their which was much geared to their strong suits for this second match.
Exactly.
Are you there?
Yep, I'm right here. Sorry, I'm kind of answering questions in the chat. Somebody had asked any possibility next year to make this tournament live. Kalong, I think the tournament is live. When we watch it, basically there's just a 2-minute delay due to wards and stream sniping and team comp sniping, but or the spectate function, but it is a lot. We are watching the live tournaments when we're watching on the weekends.
Yeah, definitely. In the interest of being able to host these community-hosted and Gameloft, the amateur tournaments that we have now, it has to be that we have to be at least with a 2-minute delay, just to prevent that kind of thing. Stream sniping is just something that is unavoidable with this line of work, with streaming and things like that. And I know people want to play, and it's just you have to protect the players from themselves in this case.
Yep. And this is not excluded that in the future this tournament will be a LAN tournament, like we see in big mobile games, where all the players are gathered in an arena, and we have an army of viewers watching from the stage. So this is something possible in the future, but for this we have to keep doing these amazing tournaments, and this is a great stepping stone for what could happen in the future.
Mm-hmm. So I had one quick point about that game too, which is probably going to be a general point on some of the way that we were talking about, I guess, itemization here on certain champions. I noticed in game 2 of RN, Arya didn't stick, Arya, who was being played by Excelum, chose not to continue building damage. Opted to just sacrifice the damage that she's known for and try to build tank to try to stall the game. Do you think that was a good thing, or was that a bad thing?
It's a double-edged sword. If she is trailing behind and the team is not providing enough backup, and she's dying too quickly, she needs to get something to survive the team fight. So buying HP or buying defense is not something we see often from early to mid-game on a pure carry, but sometimes you need to do that in order to survive if your front line is not doing... is not there.
And honestly, you need some defense. I don't know that he was really building tank as much as when you're going head-to-head with another carry, the carry that has the defense is going to win. So it is useful. Having a little bit of defense is useful. I also do know that Red Zone or Excel, they also do like to, if there's a healing on the other side, they like to build that Essence Stealer as well to kind of counter any healing. I cannot recall if there was healing on the other side.
Yeah, this is something we have seen.
Excel, I wasn't using my own account.
Yeah, we have seen.
That's a touchy issue.
We have seen what, maybe 6 or 7 games with healers like Clint or Fox, and only in a single game we've seen a Essence Stealer, and Essence Stealer is the best item to counter a healing team. And not buying a Essence Stealer is like giving away so much potential of the healer in the end game. And every healer lineup that we saw against a no healer lineup, they all won, every single one of them.
Definitely. But nonetheless, Rose Noir, they came out 2-0 for all the questions that we do have. Obviously, they did manage to squeak out 2 victories and sweep BHAMS from the tournament. So moving on, I believe the next tournament that the next matchup that I have here was actually the third one that I watched on. Was it Arya that you were hosting, the God Squad and OP match?
Yes, that was a very exciting match as well. That was one I was looking forward to, and I received lots. Yes, that's right, Seasons. You had spoken earlier about that being your favorite match of the weekend.
So why don't you bring us into what you felt, what you saw from the match, and what we can expect going forward from.
Actually, and somebody had a suggestion. I don't know if it's possible, but could we possibly skim through the match? Is that possible?
I can probably pull it up if you bear with me 1 second. Pull up your camcord. But if you want to just give us a quick rundown on what you saw real quick while I try working on that.
So the good point of GS versus OP is 2 teams that are skillful. They play a lot together, and they are from about the same level. So it was a very fair matchup. And that's what practice and OP practice a lot for that tournament. And we saw a excellent first game from God Squad, and then from the second game, it was the upside down. Something happened that was not there, but the critical moment was on the third of the game. So it was 1-1. They needed to move on. They had no room for any team, but God Squad was in lead for 7k gold in lead, and then one single bad initiation at Mongol in the blue jungle, and the Alvin team wiped. And from there, they took Mogul, they took one tower, they pushed for the second tower. So overall, in 1 minute and a half, that was 13,000 gold swing in 1 minute and a half.
So, okay, I have your video, Aria. Is there anything in particular you would like to see?
Well, I think obviously right there, what Levy just mentioned, that was the big pivot point.
From game
so
1 or
that
game
was,
2?
I believe it was in the game.
It was from game 3.
Okay, I'll.
Yeah, the first they were very close. The first, I mean, that was a very hard fought between God Squad and OP. They were very close.
Yeah, so that was for the game 3. I don't remember exactly the time, but it's about 25-ish minutes. So they were trying to find something in middle of the Mogul pit.
20 minutes into that match, I'll get it right now.
And then they just moved on the blue jungle, and from there it's a bad initiation, and they needed to have the tank first, and it was not the tank that initiated first, and then they all came in the fight 1-by-1, and they've been just wiped by the monkey and the crashing damage they had.
Okay, so would you say that this okay, I think this is definitely, I get it? I think I might be queuing it up right now. I'm looking at a team fight at the bot lane. It looks like when they were starting to move over. Yep, here it is. Bingo. Alright, so let me screen cap that for you guys because they want you to see this awesome replay here. Let's see. Boom. Oh, man. I'm getting better at this OBS thing.
Your relay is amazing.
Yeah, I really do like the
Thank you.
transitions between the. I love these Harpy versus Kursdor, Battle Mage versus Nomad, Quarterfinals, TSL versus OP.
So we have the video here. It's going to be right there now in the middle of the screen, and I'm going to start playing it now. So it was order that looked like they were starting to get into God Squad was starting to posture around Mogul here, and you could kind of see that OP had the beat on them right now, so hopefully they'll get started soon. They're waiting to start and seeing if they can bait OP into a team fight, but they're like really not biting at this point. And this is what I say here: when there's a team hesitating to pull the trigger on some of these events, whether it's to either initiate a boss or season objective or initiate with the team fight, this is time wasted. This is time wasted. This is gold not being picked up.
Yeah, and sometimes when you stall the game, you have opportunity for another hero to push the lane, and this is a perfect example of a game that is stalled. They are looking for defending Mogul, but nothing happens on any side.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wrote in the late game here. OP finding ways to stall the game enough. Risky play by GS, and the Guja pit ends up and oh, this is the ace. So yeah, I think this is where the team fight starts. Gambler's going in right now. Sia's trying to catch up. This is very awkward here. Arya pops the ultimate. Lu gets absolutely destroyed. Gambler just two-shots him. There goes Gambler with a double kill. Sia going down as well. Frozel now picking up a kill, taking out Gambler. They managed to squeak away with one, but it's not going to be enough. Arya killing RTQ. Frozel picking up another kill, taking down Nut. And I believe, was that the ace there? Yep, that was the unofficial ace. I think RTQ bought back there at the 21-minute mark.
And from there, we saw Arya going, pick out the door, the dog at the door. And during that moment, they took Mogul and they went for the mid tower.
Yeah, so it's just a case of, you get put in these situations. You have on paper here, no reason why God Squad couldn't come out with it, but it's always a case with. I took Frozel. I say it again. Frozel has a 100% win rate. He has a 100% win rate, everybody. You want to win these next matches in this weekend, you're definitely going to want to consider having Frozel. Or pick a team that could walk Frozel into the team fight and get you a victory.
Speaking of which, that would be amazing to have stats in the game and to be able to gather every information like we have in Dota Buff or stuff like that. So we would or we could do that sort of analysis.
Yes, because my hands are getting tired. Look how many notes I have here. This is just a one game's worth of notes. That's just insane.
Wow, that is an amazing amount of notes there, Stephen. I do remember you mentioning before that, here guys, pro tip, every game that had Frost Cell in there, it won the game, so you guys might want to take a look at Frost Cell.
Do you think we're going to be able to see Lilith in this event? Yuo said that that it was not a wise decision to put her in so early. Your thoughts?
I've seen there was one game played with Lilith. I watched it. It was recorded and shown on Okopedia in Russian, and it was Boss versus Beast, if I'm correct.
Take a look at the brackets right now. It was the
sorry.
Boss versus
Hell Brothers.
Hell Brothers.
Yes.
Okay, and it was Toxic Lego playing Lilith, and Toxic is probably one of the best mage carry of the game. He's a lean, mean, Curse Door, Gervus, Aquatics. Give him any mage carry, he will carry with it. And he played with Lilith, and at 3 moments, he did triple kills.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah, because he had a good team engaging, and then he blasted off, burst every run down, and he finished with 11-2 and I think was something like 10 assists. Crazy game, crazy gameplay, and very well played. And the secret with Lilith is to be able to know where the enemy will be in 3 seconds.
A lot of people were kind of curious on the matchup here. Would you say that Boss had an easy matchup here against their enemy Hell Brothers to advance here to go against Easy Gaming?
I definitely think that Boss did got a slightly easier. Hell Brothers is a very competitive guild, but at this level, just like Red Zone also kind of, and even this week, I mean, fair enough to say that people would say that Red Zone has kind of, out of the 4 matches, probably has the easiest go at it this week. And that's just random. That's just,
yeah,
I mean,
you can't really prevent that. You know, that's the way they seed it.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, someone's going to get a slightly easier matchup than others. I can't wait to see the Rose versus Rose match. I really can't. I mean, that's going to be, I think you guys are going to be, you think you were surprised by Behams. I think you guys are going to be really surprised by Rose Blanc. I know that Rose Blanc has been fighting really hard, and I think, I've been watching them in GBGs this whole past week, and they're tough. They are not the Rose Blanc of yesteryear. They are going to be coming at Rose Noir to win. I think they want to win it in their own right.
Yeah, you pick a team that just did it better. Hands down, Rose Blanc did it better. They won in a much more convincing fashion. They had pure team fight control. They did not once were they behind in kills, and not once were they behind in objective control. Even though in game 1 they kind of stalled out a little bit. They were having a little bit of difficulty getting into that into the base, but they managed to finish it out. And still, when they decided to pull the trigger, it was just a matter of clockwork.
And Rose Blanc is the sister guild of Rose Noir, so they picked, or Wild created Rose Noir based on the most competitive players he wanted to play with, and he created the Rose Blanc with more friendly bunch of players within that Rose Nation.
Right. Shout out real quick to Warcraft, but also MMG had a good point. So many members in Blanc, and they're good, but they don't have the synergy that a small close-knit guild like Noir would have. I would agree with you, MMG, except for the fact that the people that you see in the tournament and playing and GVGing for Rose Blanc are the same players that you've seen. They are actually the old school Rose Blanc players. Even though Rose Blanc has been picking up a lot of great players, it's the same lineup that you've seen for a while. You still have Mari. Go ahead, Levy. What were you?
And you have Really and Gashi, you have Love Eddie Carey, you have Mari, Delia, Deathcore. Deathcore played a very lean carry on the games, and I think the synergy and the dynamics they have been able to achieve make them extremely competitive. Although they have like 80 players or 70 players in their guild, the core players, competitive players of Rose Blanc are top notch.
Yeah, it's definitely like I said, You will forgive me, but I'm picking Rose Blanc to take it. If they play the same way they played last week, I'm pick. That's my pick for this week's game.
You have Rose Blanc for winning?
I have Rose Blanc. I just think that was just too solid.
Wow,
too solid
that's
of gameplay.
bold. That's a bold prediction right there.
Bold prediction. I think.
That being said, real quick, as far as predictions, can I mention T-Dog? He has a little game going. Are we allowed to mention that?
Yeah, we're allowed to talk about that.
Yeah, exactly, you guys. And people out there, viewers, T-Dog has little brackets going for people who want to put predictions on who's going to win what game. So I'm going to see if I can find that link for you before this stream is out. And I know I actually like to vote for the underdog too. Season.
Yeah.
and the goal for you, the viewers, is to predict who's going to win which series and who's going to get to the finals. If you predict correctly up to the end, you have a chance to win 1,000 runes. So the ones that predict the
find T-Dog's Twitter.
Yeah, and for that to participate, what you need to do is you take the you select which player will win, and then you send that and you tweet that to T-Dog, and T-Dog's tweet
right there for everybody. I put his Twitter up there.
All right, thank you, Seasoned. I didn't, Kulong. Kulong's asking when is it going to be live in Europe. Kulong, they're live. This is a world tournament, so this is not in North America or Asia or Europe. This is a live world tournament. We have players from all over the world, and it is a live tournament. So I'm not, and who I still didn't see. I was watching for who your idol is. Who is your idol? But you'll get to see all the main players. Here in this international series, Heroes of Order and Chaos, put on by Gameloft.
Yeah, one thing I would like to say just about Rose Noir to finish up that discussion about the Rules Nation. As per rule, every player that participates to a game and win will get a share of the prize. So I think what the Rose Noir did is to get all 7 players, including the substitute, a chance of getting a share of the prize. They let YO on the bench for the first series, and also Marius on the first series. So they put in their subs to ensure that they will at least get a share of the prize. So this is what I think the second series we might see the big lineup of Rose Noir.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I don't see that Rose Noir is going to let their B squad lead the charge here. Congratulations for getting the 2-0, but I think it's time for the big guns to take over.
Yep. Another series we had was TSL versus Licitia.
You want to give us a rundown on it?
Yeah. And that series was quite entertaining. The first game, TSL was on point with the game, and they did good control of the map, and they won quite easily against Licitia. But on the second game, they have been wrecked hard, but very hard. And it was like a very big slap in the face.
So that's the one game I didn't get a chance to catch from last week.
Yeah, on that second game, I think it finished like 25-6, something like that, and a big stomp on their 20 minutes game. But from that demolishment of the second game, TSL has been able to stand up, and even though they were losing until the mid-game of the third game, they were back behind by a couple thousand gold, and also in the kills. They hold their ground and they stand up, and they have been able to reorganize their strategies, focus on what is necessary, protect the tower and push the lanes, and they won in extremis against Licitia in the final third game of that matchup.
Yeah, and the people do want us to mention that they did win despite the fact that there was somebody on their voice chat that was trying to disrupt them, playing all kinds of loud dog whistles and whatnot in the background, and who identified himself as Dragon Landing, but I doubt that Dragon would actually identify himself as Dragon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they overcame a lot of odds and still pulled it out with the win. So
Yeah,
congratulations to TSL for that.
Yeah, whoever did it, they were demolished on the second game. They were losing on the third game, and they had trouble with their chatting and mumble. Yet they have been able to successfully win that legit third game, and this is why I think TSL deserve to be in the qualifier in the quarterfinals right now.
Yeah, see, so for future reference, for teams that want to participate in these events and stuff like that, if you guys have any questions on how to set that thing up, we can point you in the right direction so that way you can secure your voice chat and things like that. That way we don't have these kinds of incidents happening again. But props to TSL for being down, having a game going tied into to the third game and managing to squeak out a victory there, especially with all those distractions. I don't know if I could do it.
That is hard.
Yeah, it was definitely something that was just disruptive and unfortunate. But anyway, good guys won in that arena right there.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we're going on to, that was kind of, TSL was the expected, a little bit was the favorites in that matchup as well. Do you guys have any predictions? We talked briefly about Rose Blanc versus Rose Noir. Do you guys have any predictions for TSL versus OP this coming weekend?
Well, both OP and TSL basically facing similar circumstances, although TSL had the added distraction of the mumble thing. So if it's going to be one matchup that seems to be the most even, it's going to be the two teams that went to a 3-game series. So I'm going to reserve the right to pass judgment. That one, I'm going to just shoot for OP. But that's only really because I saw the match. But it's really anybody's game, and I say that from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, for my part, I know TSL proved that they can come back from something about impossible to come back with. So they have a big advantage there. But I think that OP, if they play and they are disciplined in the pushing and the lane control, OP will win this easy. They have a VB energetic team fight or way of playing. It works very well. They are very aggressive, and that is a good point. But they tend to let their tower down and forget to push the lanes. If they keep the pressure on the lane all game long, they will win this game easy.
OP was definitely having that bit of an issue also in their game 3 as well, where they were pretty much losing. I had them out. They were like, oh well, this is it for them. And then out of nowhere, whoop, game 3 team fight, and that's it. Everything just turns on. Everything turns on its head. So both teams having to go through a little bit of adversity to get through it, but nonetheless, that's probably going to be, for me, that might be one of the highlight matches there, to see the 2 game 3 winners duke it out.
This is why if Rose Noir, let's pretend that Rose Noir and OP wins and move on to the next stage, OP will have a good chance to beat Rose Noir because they have a very strong early to mid game if they play well, because the team fight of OP is pretty top notch. But
hey, you're already counting Kirby out. Kirby's here in the stream.
Kirby, we love you, Kirby.
I'm not counting Kirby out. I said that if OP are
on their top form, I heard you, Levy. I'm just giving you a little bit of a hard
time. They will win
time.
easy, but TSL can come back from a demolishment, and just that. So many teams are not able to achieve such achievement. Yeah. So many teams cannot do that, and they have been able to do that in a tournament when it counts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly
and I do agree with MMG. I think the highlight of the commentating this weekend was Kirby's OP commentating.
Kirby killed it. No doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. People were yelling for Kirby, or Riot, bring back Kirby. So that was fun, and maybe we'll be able to get Kirby on there at some point.
Definitely, outstanding, man.
All right, so now we're moving on. We've discussed Rose Noir and Rose Blanc. Coming up, we've discussed TSL and OP.
I think the only ones we haven't done is Red Zone and obviously the big elephant in the room that everybody wants to hear about. So I guess we'll go with the Red Zone.
Let's go to Red Zone first, yeah.
Yeah, Red Zone, it's an old guild that has been merged with other guilds and then they came back together. So it's a very competitive lineup. If you look at the team, it's Pitch Red, Saxo, Tiang, Niang, Ryder, Excel, and Nunkis. I think these guys are playing together for at least 1.5 years together at the same lineup, and this is what makes them very, very strong. They are used to play together, and they work very well, and they practice the team combo, and it showed in the game versus Old School.
It's one thing to be able to play good, it's another thing to also be smart and be able to play good.
I do think that Red Zone is a little bit of a dark horse. You hear a lot of, obviously, Rose Noir's favorites. Red Zone is probably one of the newest guilds out of, I mean, it's an old guild, but it's a newly created guild. And I think you really can't underestimate Excel. Excel is actually one of, I believe, the best players in HOC. And he's surrounded by a very close-knit family that, even though it's a fairly new guild, I do agree that Red Zone is going to be a little bit of could be a kind of a dark horse. It could possibly come in and win it all. So I actually really do like Red Zone, as far as I think we haven't yet been able to see in their last week's matchup or this week's matchup. But I do know in their GVGing all this week, they are very fierce, and they are trying, much like in the footsteps of Rose Noir, where Excel was at for a little while, trying creative team compositions and are really putting a lot of thought into their team comps. They're not just going with meta heroes.
Exactly. You know, sometimes making the new meta is the meta. Rewriting or reinventing the wheel, as they say. And you got to give credit to the teams that are able to do that. That just aren't like, oh hey, well this champion's clearly OP. We're gonna run with the same cookie cutter, team composition. There's always a little bit of there's always room for diversity.
Like we saw for at least 3 months a Monkey Gervis combo, but right now we don't see that much Gervis because people are thinking about outside the box and they are looking for something else than just standard stuff.
Right. I mean, notice it. I mean, Red Zone's group went with the heal team for the win. They had 4 healers. They had Arafern. They had Helm. They had Fox, and they had Clint with just one physical carry, and they were able to pull that out and win. So that was an example of kind of their alternative team comps.
That was one of my most interesting game I've seen of the tournament. Yes, there were some moments here and there, but thinking and building and making a healing team in competitive, yes, they were leading 1-0 in the matchup. That was the second game. So they went with a Daliana as a physical carry and 4 healers. And that you need to have balls to do that in competitive.
Yeah, yes, I mean, they won essentially with a troll lineup.
Yeah, and
I don't think the heal team is necessarily a troll lineup. It's I called it alternative lineup because
okay.
I mean
that's
heals
more
can be
politically
correct. Well, no. I mean, I'm telling you, the heals really. I mean, I don't know if I would have gone with 4 healers. I mean, I think because then you really are risking lacking damage. But maybe even with 3 healers, you really are just able to outlast the enemy in team fights when you've got these constant heals coming in. I feel like that's a legit strategy, honestly. I don't feel like it's just kind of, going nomad. But
it is until the enemy buys it Essence Stealer. So they could have bought Essence Stealer and dropped by 50% the healing when you do a skill. And they have not done that. So basically, Old School just said, stomp, keep going, keep bashing on us. And they have done it. For the last fight in the base, it lasted for what, something like 3 to 4 minutes in the base, and they were all full at the end. And they stomp and they fight again, they kill, and for 3 to 4 minutes the last fight because of the heals.
Yeah, it's just like I said, to me, I guess it's an alternative team composition, as Arya so eloquently put it. But man, I mean, that speaks volumes if they could win with that kind of team composition. Obviously, teams aren't really building to attack the healers yet. It's not seen so much yet. But I definitely know that as these tournaments go on, as we get a chance to see more of these competitive teams duke it out, you're going to see a lot of much more intricate builds targeting certain players as people get to know each other much more. So I don't foresee, I know that's not going to happen again. If I see another 4th team heal composition, it's just, I don't know.
I mean, and it's not just the heals; it's also the harassment. You've got
Yeah.
Arafern in your face. You know, and he gets that ultimate every 30 or so seconds. You have, I mean, Clint is just an excellent with slows and the traps that he can set. I mean, that slow is amazing and can just really be annoying and impossible to be able to even
Yeah.
get to the rest of the team. So and then Fox, I mean, my gosh, Fox late game is a game changer in and of it himself. He's able to deal damage and heal his team at the same
And he's
time.
pretty much able to just hit as soon as he starts spamming that too. It's really difficult to kind of close in, especially if he's well protected from his front line. Very interesting because you can't hit him anywhere because his 2 is going to start sprawling out in every single direction. And I think that his 2 also discovers you if you're in a bush, right? It doesn't act as a ward, but it will find the enemy if they are invisible.
Yes, his third skill, exactly. He's able to.
The utility is there.
Yep.
All right. Professor Onyx has a good question. Well, how do you guys feel about the upcoming picks? Do you feel that there will continue to be more lineups with the heavy carries for more strategic engagements leading into the rest of the finals? So do you guys think you're going to see hard carries, or do you think that people are going to keep going with the tank bruisers?
Each guild has their individual picks. Rose Noir will pick champions even though they might not be tanky, but they serve that dive composition. Rose Blanc tends to go with somewhat of a dive composition, but they tend to pick more standard champions as well, where they'll maybe pick 3 solid laners and then they'll work on the support and the jungle, being whether it be a horse and maybe like a helm kind of pick. So it's really hard to say because these teams have been kind of throwing out these very strange. They all have their unique presence. I wouldn't say that anybody's really playing to a unique meta, or standard meta. They're not playing standard teams right now.
No, but I mean, in general, though, I mean, you're still seeing a lot of tanky heroes, and with at least one hard carry, you're still gonna have an AD carry. Generally, like you're still gonna have a Newt or an Arya in somewhere in the team lineup for the most part. But
Like,
yes,
I'll tell you right now, we're definitely not
basically
gonna
flanked
see...
by the Dalianas, the Kotuns, the Cats, and the other bruisers. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, as the OP game 1 for OP, you're not gonna see that lineup again. The same way you're not gonna see red zones for healers. I'm telling you, you're not gonna see this. What did they run? Donovic, Frostel, a Kartu, a Critics, and Sia. That's not a legitimate team comp right there. That's not and they paid the price for it.
And if I'm correct, it is OP that played a 3 carries lineup.
Yeah.
Two physical carry and gambler, and 2 tanks. And the 2 tanks was I think Rutrafi and Donovac. So 2 physical range carries in the same lineup. I think that was the only team running that lineup.
Wow, and I think shout out to Apoc. Thank you very much for sharing 8,448 followers. Thanks.
Oh, thanks, Apoc. And guys,
And Camcord Jack is here as well. Welcome, Camcord Jack.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to see everybody here.
Yes, and by the way, guys, just don't forget to follow this stream. This is where the games will be casted this weekend.
That is correct. Last week, those were the qualifiers. Those were on our individual streams. You guys, this is the stream you want to hit follow on to tune in to.
I'm going to show you guys the overlays in order of the matches that they will be playing tomorrow. So for our first match, here's our overlay for Rose Noir and Rose Blanc. That's going to be casted by Levy. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. Let me get my face out of there. I was editing something there. Who's your casting partner again?
For the first game, it's
MyFit, right? Yeah, you and MyFit are going to be casting the first game there. And then the second game, I'm going to be casting with Arya for the OP versus TSL match. The following match after that is going to be Levy and I for the Red Zone versus Bro. And the final matchup, which will be Boss versus Easy Gaming, that will be Arya and MyFit.
Correct.
Yes.
So, yep, I look forward to. It's actually been a long time since I've hung out with Fit, and so I actually look forward to that this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, so I really appreciate everybody stopping by. We do have our last topic of the day. We've been dancing around it all stream long, and it is the issue of TSM and Easy Gaming. We all agree that that game one was something to talk about. Absolutely outstanding performance by both teams. You know, Easy coming out with that win. Obviously, there's some repercussions here. Levy, if you want to go into that.
Yeah, on the first game, this was quite interesting. TSM was in the lead, and again, similar setup that we saw of Noir versus BMs. A bad team fight under a tower that flipped the game, and then because they are very old players. Easy Gaming, they played together for 2+ years, maybe 3 years together, same as Noir, and they are experienced at closing the game. So they might lack in the mid game, they might lack in the early game, but they close the game very well, and they have been able to do that on the first game. So they flipped a game that they were losing, and they won the first match. But then, actually, the first match was seriously. I think that was the craziest game of the tournament.
Yeah, it was actually my favorite. It still continues to be my favorite. There was just non-stop action the entire game. I mean, starting from before it even started, they were going at each other hard in the paint. Very close match. Supposedly, I didn't go back and check, but TSM did say that they had some sort of disconnect near somewhere in the game, and that was what they were saying was causing the delay. They were discussing that with GameLoft in between. However, as you guys know, a really unreasonable delay. I mean, it was, there in the rules if there's a delay. It wasn't called by GameLoft because GameLoft itself was actually reviewing the game, and they were trying to be thorough and trying to go back, and they watched the whole game looking for the disconnect because they were trying to be fair to both sides. That was the delay, but it really, obviously from a viewer, streamer standpoint, it was really a downer after such an exciting game.
Yeah.
And
if I remember correctly, they were level 6 at 5 minutes.
It was already past it was past the point. It was past the point of no return. Long story short.
Yeah, and all players were level 10 at 10 minutes, and this is it snowballed very quickly. But at that time, if you DC as per rule, if the DC happens after 5 minutes and there is the score is 0-0, then is not 0-0, then you cannot do anything. So you can ask for a remake, same hero, same lineup, if the DC is before 5 minutes and no tower and no hero kill.
Yeah, in the case of this game 3, the game starting so late, it definitely was an Easy Gaming's court to decide the fate of their opponents. I understand, however, in the interest of maintaining competitive integrity, they chose to go through with the game 3. Obviously, the game 3 was just a complete shellacking. Unfortunately, Easy was just too late for them. They just couldn't get back into it. Whether their mind wasn't in the game, whether they were, well, clearly the accusations, which eventually turned out to be true. Easy Game unfortunately was defeated to lose the series 2-1, but after the fact, it was brought to light that a member of the TSM team was caught sharing his or her account with another player, which is, in any game you play that you own a login for, against the terms of service. When you sign up to play Heroes of Order and Chaos or any other GameLoft game, it is strictly in the terms of service that you are never to share your account with anyone for any reason, because obviously there's money at stake here. Okay, so what happens if TSM now, we don't know that TSM wins, and then after the fact, money's being dispersed. Obviously, we don't want to compromise the integrity of the prizes and the integrity of the tournament as a whole. So let that be a lesson. Unfortunately, TSM will not be going on to the next phase. Easy Gaming has been put right back into it, and we will be seeing them perform this weekend.
Yeah, and may every players or every person watching this stream be warned. GameLoft know where and when you play, and each device is marked with a specific number, and they know when that device is logged in on a different account, and they know where it is from the world because they know your IP address, so they can very easily see if you are sharing your account with someone else. So play legit or don't play.
Exactly. I mean, that's pretty much it. There's no need to go into it too much further. No disrespect.
That's what's so hard, is TSM is such a talented team, and that's what we just have to, these are very basic rules that they need to follow. But once they do, I hope they regroup, and we hope to see them. And I know Gameloft themselves wanted to see them in the next tournament, because they are a force to be reckoned with. It's just you have the basics. You're not above the rules, and you just have to follow these basic rules so that it's a fair and tournament with integrity for all. So
basically,
that's all.
It's all about maintaining competitive integrity. If you want us to continue promoting the community and making the community bigger, obviously this is the biggest event that Heroes of Order and Chaos Gameloft has backed since the beginning of Heroes of Order and Chaos. We want to make sure that we do our part and the players do their part to maintain the fairness. And I understand that the tournament spans across many time zones, but you know what? Make sure if you can't participate fully to the ways of the law, to the rules, and perhaps the tournament or the competitive scene might not be for you. So let that be a lesson, as Levy said, and hopefully we won't have to deal with that again. So, are there any final talking points before we start wrapping up?
2 points. First one, I want to, for my part, I want to shoot out Astro for these amazing headset.
Absolutely, they are just like heaven on my ears over here. And the sound quality is amazing. Thank you, Astro Gaming.
I have tested and used many headsets, and seriously, these are the most amazing one. The mic is top-notch quality. You have also, when you use it, I won't remove it.
We have the mix amp. You're going to show them the mix amp?
I wanted to show it, but yeah, you have a mix amp like that, and you can switch the volume between.
It controls. The headset has basically every kind of control. It has different settings for kind of audio or what your voice is how your voice is supposed to transmit. Everything you could control from this headset.
So it is Astro A40, and it comes in probably one of the most amazing box you can ever imagine for a headset, and it's quite crazy. So guys, if you looking for the top-notch headset, this is something that you want to look for.
And what was the other thing? You had two points you wanted to talk about?
My second point is tomorrow is a big day. A very, very big day for one of us.
Oh ho ho!
Tomorrow is Aria's birthday.
Yes, thank you, Levy. But both Levy and I, as being senior citizens of HOC, it's kind of one of those things you actually kind of want to play down. But yeah, it is my birthday. So, I'm blushing so much. My whole face is like turnip red right now.
No, it's green though.
Yeah, it's green. Yeah, it's green.
So on behalf of all the community and every players in this game and everyone on the chat area, we all wish you a happy and magnificent birthday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you very much. Okay, let's end. I look forward to. I do have to give one small shout out. Go Boss. Sorry, Roma.
Okay.
Love you, Easy, but Boss is my first love.
We'll do one last thing here before I shut it down. All right, I'm gonna write this down. Okay, Levy, who do you have going for Rose Noir, Rose Blanc? Who do you have?
Rose Noir. In 3 games.
Okay, in 3. Arya, who do you have?
I'm gonna have to go. I like the underdog too. I'm gonna go with Rose Blanc.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
How many games you got? You got 3 games or 2?
Going 3 games. 3 games.
Okay. Now for the TSL OP game.
I go 2-1 for OP.
Okay, Arya?
Alright, I am going to have to go with going 3 games TSL.
3-1 TSL?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just going with hometown favorites here.
Alright,
Kirby,
so for those
shout
2,
out.
I got Rose Blanc in 3, and then I'll do OP in 3. Alright, let's see.
Okay.
Red Zone.
Red Zone and Bro, who do you got?
Red Zone in 2.
I go Red Zone in 2 as well.
Alright, I'm definitely going to go Red Zone in 2. I'll stay with the safe bet there. And for the last one?
Easy Boss. Oh.
I go easy. Oh, easy. Oh my god. I go Boss for in 3.
Okay,
Boss
so
in 3.
Arya's got Boss in 3.
Yes.
It all depends of the lineup. If they put if they put the main lineup on boss, I go boss 2-0 against Easy.
Wow, 2-0, huh?
Yep. I think boss.
I don't think so at all. I mean, you know what? Easy Gaming is probably the guild that we have played the most GVGs against, and it's some days they win, some days we win. It is really goes back and forth. We're actually kind of, in my eyes, kind of equally matched. Easy has just so much experience and has, you know, a lot of the. I mean, they're missing, I guess, Luanek, who had to go to the army. In the Russian, and also obviously their old leader Kika, but they still have a lot of their main guys like Roma and Silencer, and Easy cannot be underestimated. So yeah, there's no, I don't ever see that going 2-0, but yeah.
I'm to a boss.
Okay.
I'm going 2-0 Easy. I think they got something to prove.
Yeah.
This is their second shot.
They do.
They're coming
mad.
out guns
they're
blazing.
back
Easy
with a
2-0.
vengeance. You better watch out. All right, guys, that's awesome.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much, Levy, Aria, Gameloft, for allowing us to host this little pregame event. It actually went way better than expected. I appreciate everybody for coming out, and be sure to tune in tomorrow and Sunday, as we're going to have our quarterfinals running all weekend long. So we look forward to seeing you guys. What's you want to give the times out, Levy?
Yeah, the game starts at 12 Eastern time zone at noon. So Pacific time zone, it's 9 a.m. If you are GMT world time, it's 5 p.m. the first series of the day. GMT.
All right, well, thank you guys so much again. We'll be wrapping up this stream momentarily. I'm going to end the call, and I'll just put the tournament banner there before I shut the stream down. And all right, we'll chit-chat in a bit.
I just wanted one last shout out to thank you Gameloft for sponsoring this tournament. None of us would be here without Gameloft. Thank you Gameloft. Thank you Gameloft, Mandy.
All right. See the bracket there.